Gontok is right. I'm not sure when it started, but all the blue crystals that are embedded in the cavern walls around us have been vibrating for a while. Feels like they're getting louder by the second. Gontok pauses for a few moments, hoping that the sound might go away by itself, but when he realizes that it's only going to get louder from now on, he raises his voice, probably in an attempt to drown out the noise from the crystals. So you want to show me how much stronger you are, Lorang? Gontok says, is that it? Or maybe your strategy is to fool me into thinking that this is going to be a fair fight. But you have instead laid a trap for me on the floor in front of me. I know your type. You're not planning to fight fair at all, are you? Don't try to lie to me. I know that what you non-giants are like. You're all the same, every single one of you. Would it kill you people to fight with at least some shred of dignity? Does honor mean nothing to you? Will this thrice damn noise? What the hell is a thrice? Will this thrice damn noise ever end? What is wrong with these crystals? Can't you see that I'm trying to have a conversation here? Be silent, damn you. And I said be quiet. As he's shouting these last two words, Gontok furiously hits one of the crystal from the wall on his left with the side of his fist. Instead of shattering, however, the crystal begins to emit a blue light that is much brighter than the one before, which fills up the entire corridor. It effectively blinds us for a few seconds. Then as we are all suddenly regaining our sight, we suddenly hear Gontok scream, full of both anger and utter disbelief. What the hell is this? Gontok shouts while showing us his left hand. What I'm now seeing is extremely hard to put in words, but it looks as if his left hand has been essentially cut in half, with his pinky finger and its ring finger missing essentially entirely, as well as two knuckles corresponding to them and the left side of his palm. Yet somehow his hand looks like it's been that way ever since he was born. Not only is there no blood coming out of the missing finger, but there is also no scar tissue to be seen. If someone were to see his hand now for the first time, there would be no reason for them to believe that those two missing fingers ever existed. But that is not all. For a fraction of a second, when I first laid eyes upon his hand after the blinding flash of light, I was almost convinced that his hand had been like this the whole time. Even though I still have clear memories of his hand being intact only a few moments ago, I was on the verge of believing that Gontok's left hand has had only 3 fingers since the very beginning. As I'm struggling to understand how something like this could have happened, Gontok shouts again while taking a good look at every person in the room beside him. Why are you all looking at me like that, you daft fools? Gontok says as he's holding up his left hand to make sure that everyone can see it properly. You do not have eyes. I'll ask again. What the hell is this? What do you mean, what is this? Lorang says, it's your hand. Have you seriously gone so far off the deep end that you've forgotten what your left hand looks like? Look at the fingers, you imbecile, Gontok says. Do you not see that there are only 3 fingers? Yes, there are only 3 fingers on your left hand. So only we were not affected? Wait, is only our character and Lorang not affected? Is that it? Why would that be the case? And if the reason is Laseti and the subject that is affected, then Layla should also be remembering this. Yes, there are only 3 fingers on your left hand, Lorang says. There have always been only 3 fingers on your left hand. Do you expect us to pity you now? Are you going to tell us that you want me to fight you with one hand behind my back to even the odds? Are you taking this joke too far, Lorang? Gontok says, these 2 fingers disappeared out of the blue after I hit the crystal with them, and you know it. You saw it happen with your own eyes. You were all there. Gontok, snap out of it, the illusionist says. That this traitorous bastard must have cast some sort of mind-affective spell on you while you were distracted by the blue light. Listen to me, you've never had more than 3 fingers on your left hand. It is the way you were born. Don't get fooled by a simple trick like this, damn it. The 3 gold guards are arguing. Layla pulls me lightly by the sleeve, and when I turn to look at her, I can see that she is looking rather distraught. Mary, please tell me that I'm not going crazy, Gontok writes. You also remember Gontok having 5 fingers on his left hand, right? It's not just some mind-affecting spell. Those fingers really existed, right? What are you talking about? His left hand has always had 3 fingers. That's hilarious. You're not going crazy. His left hand definitely had 5 fingers before. I think his fingers might come back if he acknowledged that, though. I don't know, man. That is such a good one. Let me save. I'm gonna go with like, yeah, he definitely had fingers, but I believe that would just bring his fingers back. You're not going crazy. His left hand definitely had 5 fingers before. You're not going crazy, I answer Layla in a low voice. Well, Gontok, and the others are still talking amongst themselves. His left hand definitely had 5 fingers before. Oh, good. Little Rice looking relieved. I was getting worried for a second there. So do you have any idea what might have happened after Gontok hit the crystal? Well, the fingers that were closest to the crystals are the one that disappeared. So my guess is that these crystals must have some sort of defense mechanism that activates itself when someone attacks them. What I can't really wrap my head around is the reason why there was no blood or even any scar tissue left after half of his hand was practically cut off. Also, for a second, even I was almost convinced that Gontok's hand was like that from the very beginning. It's like the fingers didn't just disappear, but they were instead completely erased from existence. Well, how does this even work? Like, let's say if I picked up like a piece of paper at some point with my last 2 fingers, right? And now the fingers disappear because of this spell. So, like, that event of me picking up those papers with my 2 fingers, is that going to be altered to say that I picked up them with my other 3 fingers? Is that it? Well, 2 fingers on the thumb. But whatever. As I say these words, a sudden chill travels through my entire body. I begin to shiver uncontrollably while drops of cold sweat are forming on the side of my forehead. If Gontok's fingers have already been removed from existence, although then the only entity I know is capable of doing something like that is the Magium itself. Does that mean these crystals are connected to the Magium somehow? Is the Magium watching us right now? Suddenly begin to turn around frantically in order to see where each of the crystals are placed, and there are too many of them, too many to count, and they are everywhere. The Magium really was watching, capable of watching us through these crystals, and there would be no place for us to hide from it in these caves. We are trapped like rats. There is no escape. Berry was gotten into, you later writes. Yeah, you reading this? My survival instincts are defective. Dying doesn't scare me. What about ceasing to exist? Am I really going to spend an eternity floating in that void again? Did you? I don't remember that happening. Oh right, when she was trying to fix everything. I suppose that would I don't know if it affects the brain or the body or both of the things at the same time. Does it just pump up your survival instincts to another level, or does it more like an existential dread that is imposed upon you? The Magium targets you. I'm ready to spend an infinitely long moment contemplating the contradiction of me existing and not existing at the same time. No, I can't go back there again. I can't give up. Not yet. I'm struggling to come up with a plan of action that will get us out of these caves safely. I hear Gontok shouting to the other guards from somewhere slightly further down the corridors. I've had it with you idiots, Gontok shouts. If you still don't believe me, then we'll demonstrate to you right now with this rock. He then picks up a rock from the ground with his right hand and he shows it to Loirang. I'm going to smash this rock into the crystal and you will see how it would disappear right before your eyes, Gontok says. We'll see who's crazy one then. No, don't, I say loudly as Gontok raises his arm and prepares to hit the blue crystal on the rock. Gontok does not get to finish his swing, however, because his arm freezes in place and so does the rest of his body, as if it's being immobilized by an invisible force. While the giant struggles to break himself free of the aura technique, we see Aiden come out of invisibility somewhere not too far behind him with his eyes closed as always. Fucking hell. I was wondering where that was going, but I did not think that Aiden would show up. But it's been a while. Leave it to the glorified barbarian to conclude that using a rock to smash into a crystal that has just removed his fingers from existence is a good idea, Aiden says. Please tell me, Gontok, how does it feel to know that the only meaningful purpose your head will ever have is to keep raindrops from falling down your throat? That's hilarious. It is such a good one though. How does it feel to know that the only meaningful purpose your head will ever have is to keep raindrops from falling down your throat? As soon as Aiden reveals himself, all of the crystals in the cave around us begin to vibrate louder and more frequently than before. They're reacting to him, but why? Is it because he's a still water? No, that's not it. Melinda is also still water. I've never seen the crystals behave this way around her. But then what is the reason? Just as I ask myself this question, I suddenly remember how Araka mentioned at one point that Aiden and the Golden Fox must have learned the food creation spell from Magium itself. If Aiden and the Fox are connected to the Magium in some way, then it would explain why the crystal is vibrating like this. But why are they only vibrating, not doing anything more? Doing something more? What exactly are these crystals made of? So it was you, Gontok says, that he tries to turn his head a little so he can see Aiden with the tail of his eyes. These crystals are reacting to you all this time. You're the one doing this. A brilliant deduction, Aiden says, as he is getting closer to the giant. Now tell me, Gontok, who gave the orders to destroy the underground rebel lair? Which happens to be just as full of these blue crystals as the caverns that are currently in? Was it you or the king? The king gave the orders, but I was the one who carried them out, Gondrak says, and then he laughs. Your precious rebels must all be dead by now, aren't they?